Okay, we walk off in it, beat. Ballin' in it, beat. Okay, hopping out of Lambos and Ferraris in it, beat. Poppin' bottle with a key, red supermodel chick. They may talk a lot of that, but they can't do a lot of it. Rico told me turn the lights on, so I grabbed the Audemars, threw the ice on. I'm a big dog, got a pissed off. A lot of rappers out, but ain't none get wrong. They like, hey, look at T.I., callin' in the D.I. Bunch of bad bras, looking like a Mia. We just pull up, hop out, go in, show out. Buy the whole bar, pop bottles, go hard, hit club so packed. These girls so drunk, this club so packed.
Good morning and welcome to the Sports Parade Magazine Daily Podcast. Today's episode, baby, we break down those NFL playoffs and see who put their big boy pants on. The chicken dinners from the winners, we're going to separate it. For today, Monday, January 14th, 2013. You know that voice, you know that New Orleans accent. That's right, it's your boy, Mark Clark, published editor of Sports Parade Magazine, host of the Sports Parade Magazine Daily Podcast. We want to invite you to give us a call, 713-553-6370. 713-553-6370. Email me, markclark@sportsparademagazine.com. Or as always, follow me on Twitter, @MarkSword or @SportsParadeMag. And hey, if you don't have access to iTunes, your computer, your smartphone, or the app for the podcast, no problem. America's fastest growing podcast, the Sports Parade Magazine Podcast, is available on any phone, even a landline or work phone. Simply dial 619-550-0516 and at the prompt enter the number 4. 619-550-0516 and at the prompt enter the number 4 and you'll be connected with the Sports Parade Magazine Daily Podcast in the comfort of any phone. Oh, before we get into it, we have to thank one of our great sponsors for bringing the Sports Parade Magazine podcast to you. And guess what? If you live in New Orleans or if you're headed to the Super Bowl, baby, or Mardi Gras, there's one place you have to check out, Avery's Po' Boys. You've heard me talk about it. You've heard me eating over there. You've heard us broadcasting. Avery's Po' Boys in New Orleans, 2510 Tulane Avenue. Book it, put it down on your Android, your smartphone, your iPhone. Put that address down. Avery's Po' Boys, 2510 Tulane Avenue. Check out the phone number, 504-821-4110, 504-821-4110. Online, Avery'sOnTulane.com, Avery'sOnTulane.com. And you gotta tell them your boy Mark Clark in the Sports Parade Magazine podcast sent you over there. So, like I said, all of the people coming to New Orleans, going down for the Super Bowl, going down for Mardi Gras, you want authentic New Orleans food, stop, look no further than Avery's Po' Boys on Tulane, 2510 Tulane Avenue, minutes from the French Quarter. Let me tell you, the freshest Gulf seafood, fried fresh, catfish po' boys, shrimp po' boys, oyster po' boys, specialty po' boys that you can only get here. Buffalo shrimp, oysters Rockefeller. Check out those two specials. And you get the daily sides and the specials like the chicken and sausage gumbo, seafood gumbo, oysters Rockefeller dip. And baby, some of those other specials like fried potato salad make you want to slap your mama. Roast beef, homemade, infused with garlic. It just doesn't get any better than that. And top it off with some bourbon bread pudding. I'm talking about good. Don't forget, Avery's Po' Boys. Avery's Po' Boys on Tulane Avenue, New Orleans, 2510 Tulane. Avery's on Tulane.com. Check it out when you're in the city. Check it out if you live in the city. And remember, when you're going there, tell them your boy, Mark Clark, and the Sports Parade Magazine podcast sent you over there for some of that good, authentic New Orleans food. Yep, we're going to separate the winners from the chicken dinners, and it didn't take long yesterday to find out who was really at chicken dinner that I thought all along.
It's ticking, 5 seconds to go, 4, 3. Time's going to tick out on the Texans. This one is over. Houston loses to the Patriots 41-28. The season is over.
Yeah, baby, the season's over. You heard the play-by-play, you heard the action. And unfortunately, of all the playoff games over the weekend, all the divisional playoff games over Saturday and Sunday, this Texans game was the worst one. You know, we had our suspicions when they went up to Foxborough a few weeks ago. and just got blown out on a Monday night. The Texans are, like Denny Green said, who we thought they were. They are who we thought they were. Chicken dinners, y'all. I said it over and over. And for all you Texans fans, the writing is on the wall. This team came out. They were scared. Matt Schaub, your quarterback, simply not an elite quarterback. He's not. Aaron Foster, yeah, great running back. You have J.J. Watt, outstanding, probably the defensive player of the year on that defensive line. But outside of that, you have what you have, a very good team. A very good team, but a team that does not have the talent, nor the intestinal fortitude, nor the coaching. Listen to me carefully. Nor the coaching in Kubiak, the head coach, to take this team beyond where they've been. And that is one and done. They won one playoff game, beat a team that shouldn't have been there in the Colts. And that's it. They're good enough to get you a wild card win in the first round. But that's it. They collapsed in the latter part of the season when they had home field advantage at their feet. They collapsed. This team is not built to contend seriously for the Super Bowl. For one thing, the mentality of the Texans is totally off. How did they go into the season? They went into the season talking about Super Bowl. For 2 years, they've been talking about the Super Bowl, and they've never done anything in the playoffs or really the regular season before this year to warrant talk about the Super Bowl. But that's all it was. It was talk. They were going to be the New Orleans Saints for 3 years ago. We're going to be the Saints. We're going to be in the dome. We're going to show you how it's done. That ain't how it's done, chicken dinner. That's not how it's done. Don't get mad, Tito. It's the law of the jungle. It's the law, Tito. And y'all just ain't good enough. Up and down, they're not good enough. They came out scared against the New England Patriots that had this game in hand the entire time. This game was never in doubt. Never in doubt. What's disappointing about this loss, and who I feel for, is Andre Johnson, the wide receiver of the Texans, a perennial All-Pro, maybe future Hall of Famer. And they have basically wasted the prime years of Andre Johnson. I don't think his prime is ahead of him. It's behind him. He's still very good. He can still be great in moments, but his prime, I think, has passed him by. And that's very hard to deal with, considering that, he's been such a great player. And then the way the Texans went out and lost this game, the defense just getting blitzed. And let me just say this. The Patriots, early in the game, lose Rob Gronkowski, arguably the key cog and player in that offense, on that team, other than Brady, the quarterback, that's going to take them to a Super Bowl. He falls down out of bounds trying to make a long catch on that forearm, the right forearm that he broke, that he missed 6 weeks prior to that in the season. Gone for the playoffs. No chance that he'll be back for the Super Bowl or the championship game against the Ravens. How would that affect them? I tell you what, I think it's going to affect them big time. There's no way that I think that they're the favorites now. Before that injury, I thought it was a shoo-in that they would be in New Orleans representing the AFC. Yes, they still have Aaron Hernandez at tight end. He's very good. He's talented. He's quick. He's fast. But there's a big difference between Hernandez and Gronkowski. Gronkowski is the elite tight end in the league, along with a player like a Jimmy Graham. Hernandez is a step below that. And I think that's going to be key because now you're going up against maybe a Raven team in that AFC Championship. And the Ravens, they have been shredded by the tight end of opposing teams. They're not the same defense that they were 3-4 years ago, still very good. But now you can shut down Aaron Hernandez. Just double team him. Now you're going to force Brady to beat you with what? He's going to have to beat you on the outside with Wes Welker and company and Brandon Lord. That's the way he's going to have to go. And the running game, the running backs are going to have to show up big time like they did throughout the season, but particularly like they did in this defeat, in this beatdown of the Texans. You had Shane Vereen, a guy that really hadn't been starting. But he came out there, he was dominant. So much talent in that backfield. But everything that Belichick and Brady and that Patriot dynasty has in store and works off and feeds off goes back to Gronkowski. He's such a key figure. You saw it when he wasn't able to play this year. You saw that the team, even though it's very prolific offensive-wise, he's just a little bit extra, that dynamic force that you have to put 2 and 3 guys on. But when that happens, you open up so much more for so many other people, including Hernandez, including those running backs. Take him out of the picture, I'm not so sure that the Ravens can't come back and be the representative of the AFC. But back to the Texans. What can you say? Matt Schaub, last year playoffs, hurt. Yates, the rookie, third string, he takes them into the playoffs. Of course, they don't win. But the excuse was, well, Matt Schaub wasn't there. Prior to that playoff run, Matt Schaub always had a history of somehow, some way coming up a little bit short. Somehow, some way not having what it took. Whether it was the fourth quarter, whether it was a game against the arch nemesis Colts when Peyton Manning was there. Somehow, some way, they would find a way to lose. He would fumble the ball. He would throw the inopportune interception. He would get stripped. Or he simply wouldn't make the play that was needed. Fast forward to this year. You have everything, all pro, all world, Aaron Foster, who's had 2 back-to-back, basically career years, dominant. Andre Johnson coming back, bouncing back from injuries, but still starting to get up there in age. But the defense, mostly, because of J.J. Watt, was just so dominant. This team was on a roll, but I think this team, the Texans, started to believe and read the press clippings like they were preordained to be in a Super Bowl. It doesn't work that way in the NFL. Doesn't work that way, Houston, Texas. You have to fight and earn your way. And it's not done through the regular season. Therein lies the problem a few weeks ago when they played Monday night, and they said this is the biggest game in Texans history. The media, the fans, even players, even some coaches off the record. Ridiculous. No regular season game is the biggest in franchise history because the true winners, not the chicken dinners, the winners like Belichick and Brady understand it's about the playoffs. That's it. This is where we go to minicamp from. This is where we work out year-round from. This is why we live, eat, and sleep football. This is why we can't rest when we lose the year before. And losing the year before means you don't win the Super Bowl. Kubiak, the Houston organization as a whole, have to reflect and step back and say, what are we doing wrong? How do we change the mindset of a team, an organization, and a city, and a fan base that doesn't understand what it takes to truly win the big one? And until that mentality has changed, and they get a quarterback in here that's truly a winner and not a chicken dinner, it's going to be much more of the Texans season is over. And I'm not talking about in the playoffs, baby. I'm talking about